Right, we're here with head coach Paul Winters from Wayne State. The Warriors a big win tonight. Coach, an opening statement as always.
Well, how about that weather, huh? We knew that the conditions weren't going to be the best and most favorable. And as I looked at our game plan, I took a lot of passes out of the offense before the game started. Just, we couldn't. I didn't think the weather was going to allow too much of it. So we tried to set up some things. Our running game would be open, and the offensive line responded extremely well. The running backs responded extremely well, and really the offense got rolling pretty good from the very start. Now, if the defense doesn't go out and play the way they did in that first half, it doesn't mean anything, because the defense really stopped them and wasn't on the field for more than 2 or 3 minutes at a time. So that was a positive. And then, in the end, I think they scored 2 touchdowns with 60 yards of penalties added on as part of the drive. So I thought overall our kids responded and played really well.
A funny question first about the weather. I mean, not that it was, piping hot when the game started, but we had a lightning delay which turned into an ice sleet storm. Have you ever experienced that as a head coach before?
The closest I came to was the St. Cloud game in the playoffs in 11, where we got about a foot of snow at halftime. But our kids responded extremely well. And again, we were able to run the football, so I think we were efficient throwing it, and we ran it extremely well.
You came out before the delay and put 13 points on the board right away, and it was just pounding the football, and that carried on all night. Just talk about James Hill tonight. He had Moffitt a big night. I mean, no matter who was running the ball, it seemed like your offensive line was just dominating the game.
Yeah, you know what? Coach Wooster did a great job with those guys, and I thought that he had a good plan for the run, and the guys executed it. They executed extremely well. It's funny, you look at plays and you say, okay, we missed a cut on that. I think Deontay Moffitt missed a cut on his last touchdown, but it was a touchdown. So, you live with it. James Hill ran hard. Deontay Moffitt really set the tone for the game in that first drive. He had some plays that were spectacular. So, it's rewarding for our young men to have this success, because they work so hard, and we've come up short, and we've made mistakes, and we haven't been able to celebrate the way we're enjoying life right now.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question, so I'll follow up with that. You guys obviously needed something like this. You've lost 6 in a row. Last week was a tough one, a close game up in Michigan Tech. You lost at the end, but how big was this for your guys' confidence these last 3 games, especially you're going to be playing a couple pretty good football teams, to get a win like this, out there singing the fight song with the band, obviously singing the fight song in the locker room, you've got a smile on your face. It was a big night for Wayne State.
Well, I think you try to live by faith, but you like to see some results. And I think for the guys to see the results, and the results were at times spectacular, so to see those kind of results against a really good football team, it kind of reaffirms everything you've been talking about. Yeah, we're that good. Yeah, we can do these things. Yeah, we can win. And the guys not only believe it, but now they see it. So we just want to continue to try to do that.
I asked you if you'd ever seen weather like that before in the middle of a game, but how about an 82-yard punt on that last punt? Have you ever seen an 82-yard punt before?
He's done it in practice, actually. But the way the ball was rolling, I was like, that thing's going to roll down to the 1. Yeah. It almost rolled the clock out.
We were actually hoping up in the press box that it would roll the clock out.
Yeah. I know. Ryan Smith picked it up. It's like, Ryan,
yeah,
let it roll.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. I think the funny thing is Shane Hines has the record at Clarkson for the longest punt. He might now have the record at Wayne State.
Well, as you know, Jeff Weiss was all over it up in the press box. 91 yards is actually the school record, which I honestly can't believe, but he's tied for second now.
That's good enough.
Next week at Ferris State, obviously one of the best teams in the country. Your thoughts initially on that game next week?
They're really good. And they've really put it to us the last times we've been up there. So let's go play.
All right, here with James Hill after a big night, big Wayne State win over Northwood. First of all, congratulations, nice win. Talk about the way you were able to run the ball tonight. It seemed like the holes were there all night long.
Yeah, I just want to give credit to my O-line, my tight ends, my fullback, and my receivers, because without them, it wouldn't have got done. They pretty much just opened them up, and I mean the way we prepared for them all week, we knew what they were going to throw at us. So I mean it was pretty much just dominate them. As long as we could dominate them, we were going to win the game, and that's obviously what happened.
I got to ask you, because I asked your coach about the weather. How about that? Have you ever seen anything like that before you start the game? I mean, it wasn't warm out at all, but you get a little ice, sleet storm, and then come out there and the field's covered in snow?
Yeah, this is actually my first time ever playing in the snow.
Okay.
I've never played in the snow, so exactly when it came down, I looked at it, I was like, I want to treat this like we're at Green Bay. Like we're in Green Bay Stadium, so with Lambeau Leap, whatever we got to do, so.
Talk about how big of a win this was for you guys. You'd lost 6 in a row, a couple close ones in there, obviously, but just for some confidence heading into these last 3 games, how big of a win was it tonight?
Yeah, no doubt. These next 3 games are the most important for us because we want to finish out the season strong. This win right here, pretty much, we're forgetting about all the bad stuff that's happened. All that stuff's in the past, and we're just moving forward. So going into Ferris week, we'll let this win marinate for 24 hours, and we're right back to the drawing board.
Over there, Kyle Toth still hasn't taken off his uniform yet. Congratulations. How do you like those throwback uniforms, by the way? I thought they looked pretty sharp.
I think they're probably my favorite uniforms that we have. They're definitely sweet, and thank you to Mr. Fournier for them.
Talk about the win tonight. How big was it for your defense to come out tonight? You really put the clamps on them pretty much the entire game until the end when the game was out of hand. But talk about your game plan coming in and the way you were able to shut them down.
Yeah, I mean, throughout the week, we definitely put a lot of stress on just playing tough, playing physical, because their offense is very downhill. They do a lot of cut blocking, so we practice on that. And we really didn't run too much out of our base defense, so it was nice to be able to see our guys be able to execute stuff we run day 1, day 2 of camp. It's definitely huge moving forward. And the best part about it is I've been telling everybody the whole time that no one's given up. Like, we're still very positive, and we're still believing in each other, and I think that showed tonight. Obviously, we dominated the game.
Talk about playing in the snow. You start the game. I mean, again, like I just asked James and your coach, it wasn't warm out by any means, but then you come out of the locker room after that delay, and the field's covered in snow.
Yeah, so I mean, we were definitely hyped before the delay, and then we went in the locker room. You know, we kind of settled down, and then someone came in and told us the field is white. We were like, what? So I think once we got out there and we saw the field white, I think it definitely, because it wasn't too cold, you know.
No.
So it definitely gave a lot of people some juice. A lot of people that haven't played in the snow before, just kind of an exciting thing. And knowing that we'd be able to make some turnovers, tackle the ball in the backfield, they wouldn't have. Nobody really has any like good ground under them. So definitely a slippery contest after that. It was nice.
How big is it as a defense to see your offense perform like that? I mean, they were out there just 10, 12, 15 yards every time they carried the ball tonight. How big was it for you guys defensively to see your offense doing that and say, hey, we got to go out there and keep putting zeros up on the board?
Right, and that was kind of our game plan to start. Is Coach Winters wanted to start with kickoff return because we wanted our offense to start off dominating the field, and that's what they did first drive. So definitely seeing that, knowing that they're going to have our backs, we can play all out on them, and just knowing that if we do give up something, our offense is going to just have our backs anyway. And that's kind of what happened towards the end of the game when we kind of gave up a couple touchdowns, and our offense responded every time. So it's definitely a big confidence booster when we're on the sideline and we see them just going down the field. It gives us a lot of hype.